Hello everyone, my name is Dusty and I'm still hanging out playing Nintendo. Today I'm continuing my playthrough of Zelda II The Adventure of Link. When we last left off I was in the town of Ruto. So I'm going to just go to Death Mountain next instead of trying to do the next palace. And I'm just kind of talking to everybody. A lot of people make fun of that, I am Error, but that's his name. That's not supposed to be a glitch. I guess it's kind of funny that they named him Error, but he does actually say something different later on. And usually don't bother going back and talking to him, but for this playthrough I think I will, just to kind of show it, because I don't think any playthrough I've ever seen does that, so I'm going to do that. Gotta have that jump spell. Right now the jump spell costs quite a bit of magic points. Eventually it will just take 2 squares. Right now I think it takes about 2.5. It's not a spell that you really need to use that often, so it's not a big deal. I think that's telling you that you can't take a key out of a palace like you could in the first game. In the first game, if you had a surplus of keys, you could use those keys anywhere. You could even buy keys in shops if you were not finding the key you needed, which is honestly kind of broken, but that's the way it was. Expect that. Usually pretty good at fighting the Gorias, but sometimes they will be a little more aggressive, like this guy's being. I think it's a good idea to go ahead and put the shield on. I've lost quite a bit of life and having some trouble with the Gorias right about now. See, that's a lot of boomerangs in play at once. That's kind of unusual. I'm having some aim issues right about now, I don't know why. Can't seem to land hits. I'm just not used to it. I always like to do that because it's a fun thing to show that the red keys, or the I'm not sure what they call them in this game. They're called Vyres in the first game, but they look like they're just one smaller sprite, but they're really two. So you can hit them in their feet even though they're still the smaller sprite visibly. I just like doing that. It's a fun thing to do. Easier to hit too. I don't remember what these are called, but I can't stand them. They're such a pain. They've got a sort of a pattern with the way they jump, but I've never been very good at really picking up on it. I think it's really random. They kind of move in a random way, a bit like the little blue jellies. I can't remember if they call them Zols and Jills in this game, but that's what I know them as. So this is Bagu. You have to talk to him to be able to go to Death Mountain. Otherwise, who he's calling Riverman is like a guard of the river, and you can't cross until you talk to Bagu. So if you notice, these orange Goria here aren't being nearly as aggressive as that red one was. There's another bridge you can use to get to the town I'm trying to go to, and oh, this is a little bit too much for me right now. Oh, I gotta get out of here. Made it. Boy, do I need that. Okay, so what I was about to say is the bridge to the north of this town I find is much more difficult than this one here, and it also has those jumping skeletal cheeps. I don't know what they call them, but they're jumping fish skeletons, and they will steal experience. So I really don't want to deal with those if I can help it. Gaining XP right now is the name of the game. I'm taking risks to gain XP. The way I look at it, taking risks to gain XP now is just going to make life easier when there's enemies that I really don't want to have to fight. There are enemies later in the game that are just, it's better to avoid them. It's not that they're difficult to kill, some of them are very difficult to kill, but some of them are just a nuisance, and you're just better off jumping over them. A friend of mine watched me play video games, and he calls that being a pacifist. He kind of makes fun of me, but it's a survival strategy. I love talking to these people here and having them turn into bats, and I love this. I've always thought that quote was cool. The eyes of Ganon are everywhere, be careful. And that any person could possibly be an evil spirit in disguise. And I just love talking to the people here and getting them to turn into keys. I guess this one's not going to. Oh, yes she is. So anybody who doesn't have anything important to say could turn into a keys here. Okay, that one's a little tougher. Okay, wow, that's a lot of hits. It's still alive. Well, this is a mission now. I've got to kill this thing now. I've lost count how many times I've hit it, but it's going down. I can't believe it's still alive. Why won't you die? Oh, wow. I'm actually kind of sorry I did this now, because now it's just kind of boring. Oh, there it goes, finally. Oh, 3 XP for all that. Thank you. You lost your mirror. Oh, wow. That's awful. I make fun, but I really appreciate that you gave me a task that I can accomplish just by walking to the next building or so down and finding a mirror under the table. Seemed like I had a hard time getting that to trigger. Usually I can just hop over there and it triggers with the press of B, but it fought me. I think it's funny how easy it is to get these girls to let you in their house. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's a little tougher. They're like, go rescue my baby. Okay, yeah. That's something to go do. But the mirror one always makes me laugh. Oh, you found my mirror. Come inside, meet my parents. And there's the spell of the game that is the game changer. And this is the spell that I wanted before I would go any further. I really don't want to be in the next palace without that spell. And it's absolutely essential for Death Mountain. I think that's why they make it so easy to get. And I forgot that's what was in there. If you talk to this guy repeatedly, he says something different. So, let me be. Master is in woods north of river. Already talked to his master. And here's the river man that wanted me to talk to Bagoo, so I've already done that. What I was about to say is that that woman tells you about Medoro Swamp, and I feel like you would go to the palace before you'd come here if you just kind of went where the path took you. At least that's what I did. When I was younger, I went to the palace first. That was the first thing that I came to. So I already had the glove by the time I was told that. Okay, so this is Death Mountain. And a lot of people will tell you that this place is very difficult. And it's got some elements that are tough, but I don't think it's as hard as a palace. So that's why I'm doing it next. There's another enemy, like in a building in a town later on, that doesn't really tell you anything unless you talk to them many times. And that's something I actually stumbled on as a kid. I can remember seeing the little blob, and he was just doing the snore. And I don't know what possessed me to just keep talking to him, but I did. And he finally said something different. I thought, oh, that's cool. I'm going to do that from now on. So anytime I talk to anybody, I did that to see if they'd ever say anything different. And there's only about 2 different places, and it's the other place is just another enemy that just so happens to be living in town. I like to think that blob is an enemy that Link reformed. And he checks in on him every once in a while to see if he's staying out of trouble. So these things, their axe cannot be blocked by your shield, and they do a pretty considerable amount of damage, but if you can just kind of keep them at a distance by hitting them in the feet, you won't get hit. These are the fish bones I was talking about. I don't even want to mess with them. I just want to get out of here. They take experience. See? That one hit me and took XP. So they're not worth the battle for XP. You'll probably break even, or worse. So I really want that potion. I'd really like to avoid that guy. So those axes cannot be blocked by your shield, and they do a lot of damage. So I'm not fighting him for the XP if I can help it. Nope, I'm going. Quite a bit going on there. I was worried about the keys and got hit with another boomerang. So probably made a mistake there, but I'm going to see if I can't just make it onto this side. Taking way more damage than I probably would have if I'd have just stood my ground. That was not a good idea. That was a mistake. Let's see. Let's see if I can't get a potion here. Oh, it's not a red one, but every little bit helps. So I find with these different cavern entryways here that if you just kind of generally keep going right, you'll end up where you're supposed to be. So I don't have this memorized or anything, and oh, I really could have done without that hit. Oh, I'm timing this so bad. There's just a sliver of red in my health bar up there. Okay. I've just got to be careful here. Oh, I needed that. We're back in it. So the red ones can't jump, but they're still being annoying. Got him. Oh, I need that too. I should have stayed down there. It's much harder to deal with them when you can't hit them in the feet. I don't know why. It should be the same timing wise and everything, but I don't know. It's probably just in my head that axe is right there, and I have to take an extra action to duck. I duck anyway, but I don't know, it just feels like I'm doing more when I'm a higher level up than I am at the same level. Again, that's probably just in my head. It's probably no different. It's fear. Okay, I definitely want the shield to fight this guy with the axe, because he can throw 2 at a time, and I almost always get hit by the second one he throws. They're worth a good bit of XP though, so that's nice. So I'll stab the Vire in his invisible legs. You can't block those fireballs either. They're not blocked by the shield. You do get a spell later on that will let you block that stuff, but I don't have it yet. All I can do is avoid. I don't feel like I really need a shield for the orange one. If I'm just good at my timing, I won't even get hit. And the shield goes away as soon as you leave the screen. And that was just my mistake all over the place. I shouldn't have got hit by that bug. Luckily, they don't hurt too bad. I feel like I'm playing very clumsily, but it's been a long time. So that's just an easy 30 XP there. Okay, I want my shield for that. Oh. This is a tough arrangement here because of that ceiling back there. I don't want to have to fight him there. I need the height. Okay. So this room here makes me nervous. I could probably just comfortably go through here jumping just like that the whole way, but I get nervous. I feel like I'm going to fall. And there's more difficult jumps later on, but hopefully by then I'm a little more comfortable and I don't feel like I have to take my time with every little jump like that. Yep, I want my shield. I think he threw 2 there, I'm not sure. I might be making excuses. When I'm playing, I don't notice as much. If I was watching somebody play, I would say, yeah, that was 2 that just got thrown there back to back. But when I'm playing, I'm just trying to jump over them. So I've always done this, rocking the D-pad back and forth in jumps. It's something I've done since I was a kid, and I cannot break myself of it. That's why I keep turning around there. It looks weird. So I totally don't have to go left here, but I'm going to because I want the XP. Oh, I missed. So these little spiky blobs back behind here, you have to have the... Oh, that was definitely 2 axes that time. You have to have a down stab maneuver to hit them. So I just got to avoid them right now. When I was a kid, I had no idea how to kill them at first when I first encountered them. And I thought it was unfair that you couldn't kill them. By the time I got this far as a kid, I had lost the manual. If I still had the manual, I would have known that there's a maneuver I can get that will let me hit them. But at the time that I actually got far enough in this game, that was lore lost to time. I actually tried to keep up with my stuff when I was a kid, but my mom would hire people to come in and clean, and they considered box's garbage and the books were just in the way, so they would get put who knows where. And I think I remember finding the book later on, and it was pretty badly damaged, so it ended up going in the trash anyway. The book I have now is in pretty rough shape. I actually bought it secondhand, but all the pages are there, and I looked at it again when I got the game again. So this little area down here, I'm not going to explore it, but this is supposed to be the map from the original Legend of Zelda. It's just kind of condensed, and I just really like that was done. I don't think any other Zelda does anything remotely like that. Because there is no timeline. At this time, there was a timeline because there was just 2 games. This game take place after The Legend of Zelda. And then Link to the Past was supposed to be... If you asked Shigeru Miyamoto, he would have said it was a prequel, but really it's a remake. They're just remaking the original Legend of Zelda. And that's what they did many times. And the fans wanted a timeline so badly that Nintendo finally just said, fine, here's the timeline. And it's super convoluted, it makes no sense, but you guys wanted a timeline. You've got all these theories online, and we'll just say, yeah, you all are onto something. That's exactly what we had in mind all along. Which is like people thinking that George Lucas knew where he was going with Star Wars when he wrote A New Hope, which is not at all true. He had no idea. And if you doubt that, you can find the scripts online that he wrote before he wrote the one we're familiar with, and they resembled Dune more than anything. Darth Vader was just a guy. Obi-Wan Kenobi was telling the truth. The certain point of view is the retcon. But this game actually has some lore about the way Hyrule was in the past, and I don't think any game really talks about that period of time. And since it doesn't, that's one of the things that tells me that there is no timeline. But I've thought that for years. That's something. When Ocarina of Time came out, that one was a prequel to Link to the Past, and that was pretty obvious that one was. But at the same time, it still was just a remake, and they were explaining that that's what they're doing every time. That we're doing a remake of Legend of Zelda, but we're setting it further back in time each time. And all the stuff with diverging timelines, all that stuff's nonsense. That's just game theories that became canon because the fans wouldn't let it go. And if you don't agree with that, I'd be happy to talk to you about that on any social media or in the comments. But that's honestly what I think. And I believe that's actually the truth. It's just the truth that nobody likes. So this ability right here is a complete game changer. This down stab. Now I am a total badass. Virtually unstoppable. Which is to say, I can't really more effectively kill enemies, but I can more effectively avoid them. And that's a very strong ability for me. Still, at this stage in the game, I'm still wanting to get XP, so I'm not going to be avoiding very much. That downstab thing is also something that I stumbled upon, which I don't feel like is that hard to stumble upon. So her daughter's sick, she needs some medicine. Because there's a door up there, and it stands to reason that you got to be able to stand on something to get to that door. So I just naturally assume there must be an invisible ledge up there. So now I've got the hammer, which is another reason I wanted to go to Death Mountain, because it opens my pathway to where I can get to the second palace without having to go back through that cave with the Gorias, because I find that to be a particularly annoying and overly difficult thing to have to deal with at this stage in the game. So, in my opinion, it's easier to just go to Death Mountain, get the hammer, fight those Dairas, I believe they call them. They're crocodile men with the axes. And then you don't have to go through that cave anymore. I think that's worth the extra difficulty, and you get the XP. You got to go through there anyway. So the way I feel about it is you might as well go ahead and get it over with. It is a fairly tough part of the game. And I feel like when you've got the life spell, you're in good shape. I'm not sure, but I think that I am slightly over leveled for where I am in the game as well, which is definitely helpful. So that doesn't make these guys easy because my jump's not high enough, but every once in a while I can get them that way. So now I'm just going to these caverns and getting the items out of them, because like I mentioned in the last video, I believe you have to get every container in this game or you cannot finish it. So I'm going to go ahead and get the ones that I know about as I'm thinking of them, because I don't want to forget any and have to backtrack. I didn't mean to hit him. That looked really cool, but I didn't mean to do that. It just happened. Get my pea bag here. When I was a kid, I used to think, oh, is that all that's in there? But now that I'm older and smarter, I know that that's a really good treasure. Oh, he threw a high one. I was not expecting that. Typically, I don't want to say typically, but more often than not, let's say, they tend to throw their first boomerang low. So if you kind of run up to them and duck, you'll almost always either avoid or block their first boomerang throw. But just every once in a while, they'll throw a high one and mess you up. Luckily, it doesn't do a lot of damage. So I'm looking for the town where Error is, and I forgot where it was because I wanted to go back now that someone told me that Error has some information for me. And if you noticed a second ago, the hammer will chop down trees, which I never knew growing up, which this is kind of far ahead, but that's one of the reasons I couldn't find one of the final two spells, because I didn't know that you could clear trees with the hammer. Not that you necessarily have to, but it's awful helpful to know that. So I'm just getting into fights what might seem needlessly, but just a little extra XP. That's all I'm doing. I'll probably wrap up this this section here in a little bit, because I've already done Death Mountain, and now I'm just kind of wrapping up some loose ends here, tying up some loose ends. And I mentioned earlier that I wanted to talk to Error when his dialogue changes, so that's what I'm doing. And I'm just cutting the trees down just for fun. Okay, back to Ruto. I think pretty soon I'm going to stop letting the dialogue play out for the old women and the young women when they heal my magic in life, just because you don't have to have them speak to get those things. So I think I might stop doing that to save some time. There's Error, and look, south of King's Tomb in Meadow is a tunnel. So he's not just a glitch, guys. His name is just Error. And that's the thing that when I was a kid, I don't think I ever came back to speak to him about, because I just stumbled upon that. And in the next video, it's going to be one of the first things I do. You'll be able to see why it's so easy to stumble upon. I think I've got one more place to go that takes a hammer to get to. Over here on the left. You know what, I'm curious if Bagu's house shows up if you chop the trees down where it's supposed to be. I apologize if that kind of stuff's boring, but I'm just in the mood to experiment right now, so I'm gonna go see. And get some extra XP along the way. It may seem like this XP I'm getting is very small, but the XP values that you need to level up are very small, so it works. Oh no, there's no house. Well, now we know. He lives in the sand. Yeah, that's where I'm wanting to go, right there. And I'll probably quit after this, after I get what's in here. So now that I've got the down stab, I could probably deal with them a little bit better, but I still just don't want to. They take XP, and they don't give enough XP to make that worth it. You can't really down stab these guys, they will dodge it. So don't even try. You will get hit. I had to think about that for a second. I ended up getting hit thinking about it. I should have just done it. I need to be more decisive. Oh, he's about to throw a second one. I got him. That happened at a perfect time. I needed that health. That terrain is messing me up more than it's helping me. Alright, there's that medicine that was mentioned. The older woman's got a sick daughter, so I got the medicine. And I think what I'll do is I'll go to a town to end the video. That way I'm always starting from a town. So I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I'm going to continue playing through The Adventure of Link. I plan on beating it for the channel. I haven't beat it in a while. It's about time I do. Probably going to beat a few of the other games I had growing up, or some of the games I played growing up. I didn't have the next game I'm thinking about playing. I want to play Dragon Warrior. I got that game secondhand a little bit later, but it is one of my first fantasy games, so I might play that. I'm not 100% sure. I'm torn between playing games that I owned at first and playing games that I just really was into. Alright, I'm just going to stop right here at this town, so hang out with me another time. See ya.